Okay. Welcome to our 12th annual Davidson Fellows Award Ceremony. I'm Bob Davidson. In 1999, my wife Jan and I founded the Davidson Institute, a nonprofit organization dedicated to recognizing, nurturing, and supporting profoundly gifted young people. A couple of years later, in 2001, we started the Davidson Fellows Scholarship program to recognize the extraordinary achievements of students 18 and under. Tonight, we will be celebrating this year's 22 Davidson Fellows who have completed graduate-level work in various fields, including science, technology, mathematics, literature, music, and philosophy. But first, a few thank yous. Thank you, of course, to the Museum of the American Indian for allowing us to host this, our annual Fellows event in this rather beautiful setting. I hope that many of you have had a chance to go through the museum and see the really fantastic exhibits. Thank you to our two congressional sponsors, Senator Harry Reid of Nevada, Senator Chuck Grassley of Iowa, for co-sponsoring the event. Tonight we are celebrating the accomplishments of 4 Davidson Fellow laureates at the $50,000 scholarship level, 8 Davidson Fellows receiving $25,000 scholarships, and 10 students are receiving $10,000 scholarships. I haven't added it up, so I don't know. As I call this year's Fellows on stage to accept their award, some of them have indicated they'd like to make a few remarks, so let's get started. The first recipient is a 17-year-old from Virginia, Mr. Saumil Bandyopadhyay, who is receiving $10,000 scholarship for his physics research. And Saumil?
Good evening. My name is Saumil Bandyopadhyay, and I am a senior at the Maggie Walker Governor's School in Richmond, Virginia. This work has meant a lot to me over the years, not only for the time I've spent on it, but also because it was one of my earliest exposures to scientific research and also a topic I was deeply interested in. I submitted in the category of physics. For my submission, I invented a novel universal photon and particle detector using nanowires. It can detect infrared and ultraviolet light, 2 wavelengths that cannot be seen by the human eye. It can lock on to specific frequencies, and it can operate without a liquid nitrogen tank. Its infrared functionality is 10 times more sensitive than state-of-the-art devices, and it can pick up beta radiation particles. Now, the applications for this are immense, and that's why I was first drawn to working on photodetectors. Every year, nearly 40,000 individuals die in the United States from car collisions, and numerous children are maimed or killed in battle, ridden countries from unexploded mines. Car collision avoidance systems and mine detectors are based on sensitive infrared detectors. A recent report states that millions of cheap room temperature infrared detectors will be needed across the planet to monitor the effects of global warming. These detectors have to be inexpensive and mass-produced, but have a high sensitivity, and that possibility is now open. Beta detectors can be used in radiation therapy for cancer treatment and homeland security. The potential benefits of this field are what drew me to it at first, and it's certainly a field I will work in further for that reason. Now, I would first like to thank the Davidson Institute for such a high honor. I still have the mound of college applications sitting on my desk at home, but I intend to study electrical engineering in college, and the scholarship will certainly help me pursue that goal. And finally, to close off, I'd like to thank my teachers at school, my mentors, and my nominators for their patience and guidance. Dr. Thlosima is in the audience here. No. And finally, my parents for their support over the years, not just in my research, but in all my undertakings. Thank you.
Well, I'd like to go back to the page I skipped, if that's okay, and recognize some of the guests we have here tonight. Dr. Steve Robinson, who serves on the White House Domestic Policy Council, working on STEM education issues as well as K-12 education policy. Is he in the room tonight? Dr. Deb Delisle, Assistant Secretary for the Office of Elementary and Secondary Education, and her husband, whom we've known for a long time, a national expert in gifted education, Dr. Jim Delisle. I think they're with us tonight. Dr. Mark Johnson, whom we know very well as the president of the University of Nevada, Reno, who also, more importantly, serves on the board of the Davidson Academy. Annette Williams, who's the head of the Whittemore Peterson Research Institute, located at the University of Nevada, but again, more importantly, a board member of the Davidson Academy. Laura Vanderkam, who co-wrote our book, Genius Denied, and Justin Sullivan, who was named a Davidson Fellow in 2005. Sorry for skipping that page. Now we can get to our second recipient, Nathan Chan, an 18-year-old cellist from California who's receiving a $25,000 scholarship. Nathan?
Thank you so much. I just wanted to start by saying what an honor it is to be standing right here now among my 2012 co-fellows, family, and especially the Davidson Institute. The Davidson Scholarship is such a humbling gift for my life and my journey through music. My project, entitled The Importance of Passion, is both a reflection of my life and an analysis of what it means to be successful. I noticed that in the world we live in today, the perception of success is judged and perceived by many different things in many different ways. But there's one overarching factor that has the most meaningful impact and is often overlooked. When I first started playing the cello at the age of 5, what I lacked in technical ability, I made up for by loving what I did. Hearing the music, feeling the music, and most of all, enjoying the music were my strengths. At first, I thought these aspects of music were only skin deep. I thought you had to have the technical ability in order to even think about the musical ideas that are so deeply entwined in music. And although I realized it was important to have technical ability, for me, that's not what made playing cello enjoyable. These specific things, the love for the cello, the love for the stage, and the passion for playing allowed me to continue to do what I do until this day. With the passion, I had the opportunity to be featured on an HBO special called The Music and Me, which led to me being featured on a British Channel 4 documentary entitled The World's Greatest Musical Prodigies. I've also soloed with the San Francisco Symphony and the Royal Philharmonic, to name a few. Over the years, I realized that loving what you do and being passionate about your work spurs the most growth. It was the passion that shaped the playing, not the playing that shaped the passion. Reflecting upon my own musical journey and life story, I found that this key idea has profound implications for the world. By sharing musical memories and moments online via online social media websites like YouTube and Facebook, I found that passion is a truly global quality and an inspiration for others, where the internet is a fantastic medium. Throughout my online videos, which have been seen more than 1.3 million times, I've received feedback by other people who are going to give up on music, but were so inspired by my playing that they decided to continue pursuing, learning, and loving music for its joyous and meaningful qualities. I really believe that following one's passion and pursuing one's love are key factors in the never-ending pursuit of success. If we move along the path of life with passion and do what we love, our journeys will be incredibly rewarding. Now, after the rest of the speakers have spoken, I'd love to play a little piece for you, but that'll be a little bit later along. So thank you so much.
We'll be hearing more from Nathan. The next recipient is Alexander Chen, a 17-year-old, again from California, who's receiving a $10,000 scholarship for his research dealing with algorithms for photovoltaic panels. Alex?
Hi, I'm Alex Chen, and I'm from Los Angeles, California. I go to Palos Verdes Peninsula High School. Having grown up in California under the sun has given me a great opportunity to continue studying my solar panels. This past year, I worked on a project called a maximum power point tracking algorithm with an improved hill climbing method, which I submitted in the science category for this Davidson Fellowship. I created an improved continuous algorithm that was implemented into a microcontroller, and it automatically optimized the solar panel output power by changing the voltage. And the algorithm employed a very simple yet very effective probabilistic approach that overcame many of the deficiencies that are encountered by many of the industrial codes. I would like to thank the Davidson Institute for giving me this scholarship. I'd like to use the scholarship to pay part of the tuition that I'm going to have to use to pay for my college, and also use it to help improve my program or organization that I started called Science Study Buddies. It's developed to helping elementary school students to build a passion for the science research. And I'd also like to thank my mentor, Mr. Peter Stardom. He's been a great influence in my life throughout the 5 years I've known him. And I also like to thank my mentor and also my father, Dr. Y.C. Chen. He's supervised me, made sure that I didn't do silly things with soldering irons. And I'd also like to thank Dr. Richard Moyer and Mr. Dean Davis, who were both my nominators, for taking the time to fill out the application to help me receive this award. And most of all, I'd like to thank my parents again for doing what they did to help me. Thank you.
Our next recipient is a 17-year-old Sitan Chen from Georgia who studied graph theory and will receive a $10,000 scholarship. Stan?
All right. Thank you for that introduction. So good evening, everyone. My name is Sitan Chen. I'm a freshman from Suwanee, Georgia, currently studying mathematics and economics at Harvard College. So this evening, I'd just like to share a bit about my Davidson Fellows submission, a mathematics project I did at the 2011 Research Science Institute. Entitled On the Rank Number of Good Graphs, my project looked at a long-standing problem in graph theory called K-ranking, formulated as follows. So say we have some collection of points connected by lines, and for no other reason than curiosity, there are actually practical motivations applications, but more on that later. We want to label them with positive integers from 1 to k so that if we try to draw a path between any 2 points with the same label, we're always going to cross a vertex with a greater label. So we can ask, what is the smallest number of labels, the smallest k, that we need to do this? It turns out that this smallest k, called the rank number, is actually not very well understood even for some very simple graphs like grids. So believe it or not, I mentioned some practical applications. This problem was originally motivated by a problem in circuit design. namely, what is the size of the small circuit board onto which you can print some collection of transistors connected by wires? So why the connection to K-ranking? So going back to the problem, you can see that the most promising approach to this problem is actually a notion of divide and conquer. So a recursive one in which we want to split this problem of labeling a certain collection of points into smaller and smaller collections of points, and essentially cutting the graph into more and more manageable pieces. In the same way, if we approach circuit optimization the same way as we do with K-ranking, we can simply cut the circuit into more and more manageable pieces until we finally get parts whose sizes can be minimized directly. So with this in mind, I studied grid graphs, a special class of graphs closely linked to circuit design. Suffice it to say, I found some super cool theorems and lemmas on the previously unknown rank numbers of grid graphs that bring us incredibly close to solving this long-standing problem of ranking grids. More than that, though, my results shed light not just on how to design smaller, more cost-effective circuits, but also on how to optimize a wide range of parallel algorithms involving the divide and conquer paradigm. From searching for data corruptions in computers, to assembling complex products like automobiles in factories, to solving complex problems like climate analysis, medical imaging, and oil exploration using parallel computing. My project offers a vast variety of practical applications. And now that that brief spell of shameless self-promotion is over, I'd just like to thank a few individuals for their unbelievable support throughout the whole research process and beyond. So first of all, I'd like to thank, of course, the Davidson Institute for this amazing opportunity, the Smithsonian Institution for providing this lovely venue and even lovelier food. I'd like to thank my nominators, my mentors, and my teachers in high school for their invaluable advice and mentorship, my parents for, well, everything. I'd like to thank the Center for Excellence in Education and the Research Science Institute for providing me the opportunity to do my research. So all in all, I had an amazing time conducting this work, and it certainly strengthened my passion for mathematics research. After all, if there's anything psychically satisfying about drawing a bunch of grids and numbers for a whole summer, it would have to be appreciating even more the sleek, minimalistic beauty of mathematics. Grasping more deeply how academic inquiry pushes us to and beyond the limits of our creative faculties, and above all, understanding just a bit better the power of a single idea to change the way we look at the world around us. After all that, the occasional super cool theorem or lemma along the way is just the icing on the cake. Thank you.
David Ding is an 18-year-old from California who will receive $50,000 for his mathematics project that focused on the area of abstract algebra. David? Congratulations. There you go. It's tall. Another 18-year-old from New York, Ashley George, developed a framework for a new type of biosensor and is receiving $25,000 scholarship. Ashley, come on up.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ashley George, and I'm from Port Jefferson Station, Long Island, New York. There I went to Comstock High School and worked on my research from January of 2011 to September of 2011. I'm currently studying at Shepherd University in West Virginia in the MedStep BSMD program. The title of my project is Creating a Framework for a Flexible, Biocompatible, and Biodegradable Gelatin Chitosan Biosensor, and it falls within the science category, specifically under material science. So a biosensor is a type of detection mechanism, but what makes them unique is that they're mostly made up of natural materials, as their name suggests. They can be used in a wide array of science fields, from medical to environmental, perhaps to detect toxins in drinking water, or as research has already shown, to detect the BRCA1 gene associated with breast cancer. I noticed that these researchers use glass, silicon wafers, or some other type of hard and flexible surfaces as biosensor substrates, which works well for laboratory purposes but hinders their practical application. As part of this research, my goal was to create a flexible, biocompatible, and biodegradable surface for a biosensor to be constructed on. Flexibility allows the substrate to be placed on any kind of surface. If the biosubstrate is biocompatible, then the materials used will not cause harm to any living things. With biodegradability, the biosensor will have the ability to break down after it's done detecting, without causing any harm to the environment or life. Hence the use of gelatin with chitosan as a flexible substrate. Chitosan is a polymer derived from crab shells, and it's proven to be extremely useful in stabilizing DNA and other biomolecules over its surface. This research can be furthered by attempting to replicate a previously detected DNA mismatch, such as the BRCA1 gene, but this time you could use the gelatin chitosan gel substrates instead. The Davidson Scholarship will be extremely useful in helping me to further my studies. My goal is to major in biology and continue into medical school. I'd like to express my gratitude to my absolutely amazing mentor, Dr. Yizi Meng, for her guidance, endless support, and everything she taught me, not only about research, but also about hard work, dedication, and perseverance. And also my nominators, Elizabeth Casey and Michael Tahini, thank you for being there to develop my initial interest in research and for all the support and encouragement. I'd also like to thank Comstock School District and, of course, the Davidson Fellows Institute for recognizing and providing the resources so that students like myself have the opportunity to nurture our interest in science. Last but definitely not least, my family and friends, especially my parents and my sister, thank you for your unconditional belief in me.
Ms. Ioana Grosu is a 17-year-old from Michigan who will receive a $10,000 scholarship for her philosophy portfolio, which focused on the study of consciousness.
Hi, my name is Ioana Grosu, and I'm a senior at the International Academy in Troy, Michigan. My project in the field of philosophy is called Consciousness and the Hard Problem, Discovering the Mind. In essence, it's about what philosophers deem to be the hard problem of consciousness, or the issue of subjective experience and how it relates to material processes within the brain. Each person experiences the world differently, and in my project I showed how these subjective experiences can arise from the material brain. I definitely enjoyed the entire process of writing the essays, and the more I worked on it, the more interested I became in the questions at hand. And as I worked out my solution to one of the questions, another popped up, and so on. And this made me realize why I fell in love with philosophy in the first place, and also set me on my future path. I want to keep moving on with my research in philosophy so that I can continue working on answering questions about our experiences as humans. I would first like to thank the Davidson Institute for providing me with this opportunity to pursue my research in philosophy, and the Davidson Young Scholar Program for giving me support throughout my years in high school. I would also, of course, like to thank my mentor, Dr. Eric LaRocque, for his invaluable guidance throughout the process of working on the project, and for always being willing to debate my viewpoints so that I was forced to strengthen my ideas with more solid arguments. And finally, I would like to thank my parents for their support.
The next award goes to an 18-year-old from New York, Bryan He. Will receive $10,000 for his technology project that involved finding a binary code for mosaic floor plans used in the process of creating chip layout designs. Bryan? Congratulations. Here, you just hold that up, and I'll take your picture. And from Michigan, an 18-year-old Cody He, no relation, earned $25,000 for his science project studying plant immunology.
Yes.
And next we have Xiaoyu He, again, no relation. He who studies wins. Who is an 18-year-old from Massachusetts, receiving a $10,000 scholarship for his mathematics Rotor-Rooters project in an area of study from statistical mechanics. Show you. Our next fellow is a $10,000 scholarship recipient, Mr. Camden Hillyard, an 18-year-old from Hawaii, who compiled a literature portfolio of creating writing encompassing a theme of personal completeness. Camden?
Good evening. I'm Camden Hilliard from Mililani, Hawaii. I'm currently studying at Sarah Lawrence College in Bronxville, New York, studying creative writing and education specifically. For my project, Reflections on Everything There Ever Was, I decided to attack completeness within ideas and people. So I did that through a 3-section portfolio of creative writing, poetry, nonfiction, fiction, and drama that attacked ideas from different angles. Yeah. So since winning the Davidson Fellowship, I feel like I've gotten a lot of new opportunities. I'm currently a poetry editor with an international literary journal, and I'm also the poetry editor for one of Sarah Lawrence's magazines called Dark Phrases. I've recently been published or have forthcoming work in online and in-print literary journals, such as the Orange Room Review, the Poitras Review, and Emerge Literary Journal. Yet, most importantly, the Davidson will provide me with the opportunity to study at the MFA level. The fellowship has shown me that I have the ability, take a moment. The fellowship has shown me that I have the ability to pursue these goals, but there were some truly important people that helped me along my way. So I'd like to thank my parents, Amalia and Larry Hilliard, for their support, my siblings, Paige and Dalton. I would like to thank my school, the Pono School in Honolulu, Hawaii, for its support, the Davidson Institute, of course, and my mentors in the process, Joe Sujimoto, Lisa Stewart, and Dr. Holly Greenwell. Lastly, I'd like to thank whatever God and good fortune gave me these people. Thank you very much.
I'm getting shorter. Mr. Duligur Ibeling, who is an 18-year-old from Minnesota, will receive $25,000 for his research in astronomy, which more accurately predicts the formulation of galactic supernova and the final fates of certain stars. I guess not Hollywood stars, all right? Okay. Dellier? Where are we? Here we are. You get one of these? You're not speaking. There you go. You're done? Okay. Congratulations. Mr. Manoj Kanagaraj, who is 18, from California, will receive a $50,000 scholarship for his study of the relationship between human growth factor, receptor, and a protein that will help fight an aggressive form of breast cancer through improved drug development.
Hi, everyone. My name is Manoj Kanagaraj, and I am from Southern California, but I recently moved to Duke University, where I'm studying computational biology. So my project falls under the science category, and it deals largely with the drug resistance in breast cancer. So breast cancer is the second leading cause of cancer death among women, and each year there are about 230,000 new cases of breast cancer diagnosed in the US alone. So my research deals with a specific subset of breast cancer patient, those who have tumors which are HER2 positive. But regardless, drug resistance is a huge problem to all types of cancer treatments. So my project developed a model by which a protein called TDARP causes resistance to HER2-targeted drugs, such as Herceptin, which some of you may have heard of before. And so and the way that this happens is that the protein TDARP alters the signaling mechanism and activates an alternate pathway called EGFR, which allows the tumor cells to continue to grow and survive. So if a solution is developed that resolves this resistance mechanism, then my research could potentially have an impact on improving the quality of life of these breast cancer patients. So I would like to thank a few people right now. I would like to thank my mentor, Dr. Susan Kane, who flew all the way out from Pasadena, California to come here today and come to this event tonight. And she's leaving tomorrow morning, which is mind-blowing how much she wanted to come here, and I really appreciate it. Thank you, Dr. Kane. I would also like to thank my mom, who's supported me in my academic endeavors since I was a little kid, and she came out here from California as well, and my dad and brother, who were unable to make it to the event today. And I'd also like to thank largely the Davidson Institute. Thank you so much for bestowing this honor upon me, and I really think that this award will continue to push me to work hard and achieve my goals in life. And so I plan to use my award in the next 4 years because I have a full ride scholarship at Duke, so I can't really use it for college, so I'm planning to use it for either medical school or graduate studies. And thank you guys.
Let me try back here. Did I miss one? Is that it? Okay. Next, we have an 18-year-old young man from Connecticut, Mr. Ryota Ishizuka, who earned $25,000 for fabricating a dual hydrogen production and water purification device using wastewater as its sole fuel source. And next, an 18-year-old from Maryland, Miss Nina Liu, will receive $25,000 for her analysis on an atomic level of the complex interactions between HIV and a broadly neutralizing antibody. Well, the next one's pretty familiar to us, although it gave him no advantage whatsoever. But from Reno, Nevada, and a student at the Davidson Academy, 16-year-old Ian McKeachie earned $10,000 for his literature portfolio entitled Attitudes of Existence. Ian?
Good evening, everyone. I wasn't originally going to speak tonight, but hearing what my other fellows have to say, I thought I really had to contribute something, especially because I've had experience with the Davidsons through the Davidson Academy as well. And I can't miss an opportunity to talk about what a phenomenal chance they've given me in this world. I would not be anywhere near the level I am right now with my writing and with my thinking if I hadn't been able to go to the Davidson Academy and immerse myself in the educational environment that the Davidsons created. So I thank them and the Institute for that wholeheartedly. I can't really talk a whole lot about what I did to create my portfolio. I can tell you there was a lot of me sitting frustratedly in front of a blank screen because the muses don't always come when they're called. But I really wanted to explore why stories are of value to us, what it is about the universal themes in literature that draw us and that hold us over time. And as I was thinking about this, I always came back to tragedy. Tragedy is a form that's incredibly old, but we also see it in the new. We see it in modern literature, not necessarily in popular literature, but in older books that have somehow stood the test of times, things like The Great Gatsby, which we all know and we've all read in high school, whether some of us were happy about that or not. Tragedy is really what made that book great, and so I thought in my portfolio that I would endeavor to recreate that and expand on it and hopefully make something new out of it. I had an incredible support network through the Davidson Academy from my wonderful parents, who read far too many of my things and somehow always had something positive to say about them. So I would just like to give an enormous thank you to everyone who's helped me get here, and I'm looking forward to great things for the future. Thank you.
We see a lot of Ian out in Reno, and he's also a published author. Next, we have a 17-year-old woman from California, Vaishnavi Rao, will receive a $10,000 scholarship for her research into the plasticity of nitric oxide using alterations in electrical activity. Her findings have implication in the treatment of various neurological conditions.
My name is Vaishnavi Rao. As he said, I'm a senior at Canyon Crest Academy in San Diego, California. I feel very honored to be here today to receive the Davidson Fellowship. My fascination and love for the brain began in 7th grade when I studied the biological basis of fear. I became instantly captivated by one of the brain's remarkable, very interesting properties, its ability to adapt to change, its flexibility, called plasticity. Such plasticity can be manifested in many different ways, whether it is in the form of strengthening the connection points between brain cells in order to form memories, or whether it's in the form of a person losing one of their senses early on, and suddenly the other 4 senses become instantly or gradually strengthened over time. How far does this plasticity extend? This is one of the guiding questions of my project. And I particularly looked at the brain's chemical messengers, nitric oxide, a gaseous neurotransmitter, to see if this chemical messenger could be regulated. So I'd like to thank several people. First and foremost, the Davidson Institute for allowing this wonderful acknowledgement of my work. My mentors in the lab, Dr. Nicholas Spitzer, Dr. Davide Dulcis, for providing invaluable guidance throughout the process. I'd also like to thank my school biology teacher, Miss Wendy Slyke, and Dr. Deshpande, who's in the audience today, for setting me on this path of research. Thank you very much.
Receiving a $25,000 scholarship is Miss Naomi Shah, a 17-year-old from Oregon who studied the impact of indoor airborne pollutants on the lung health of asthmatic patients.
Good evening. My name is Naomi Shah, and I'm a senior at Sunset High School in Portland, Oregon. So first, I would like to thank the Davidson Institute for this honor today. My environmental health research focused on indoor air quality, with specific emphasis on mathematically modeling the impact of airborne pollutants on the peak expiratory flow rate of asthmatic patients. Basically, current mathematical models that predict lung health are only based on a person's age, gender, and height, which are pathophysiological factors. So I modified these traditional models by incorporating an environmental factor, so things like particulate matter and volatile organic compounds. And the reason behind this is for targeted treatment for asthmatics, as well as environmental remediation efforts. So this scholarship is very important to me. I plan on using it towards my college education and continuing environmental health research in my undergraduate experience. I want to continue to study how environmental factors impact human health and engineer solutions to be able to solve these problems from the root, rather than just treating the symptoms alone. So I'd like to just end by thanking my nominators, Ms. Mitchum and Ms. Robinson, who provided constant guidance throughout my research, my teachers and principals for their ongoing support, as well as my parents and my older brother, Priyam, who aren't here today, but have always encouraged me to pursue my passions. Thank you.
Mr. Anand Srinivasan is a 16-year-old from Georgia who will receive a $10,000 scholarship for his work to design a software-based brain-computer interface for robotic prosthesis. I got that right. '17 and from Colorado, Miss Sara Volz earned a $50,000 scholarship for her research into algae biofuels with the goal of increasing algae oil yields to make this type of fuel more sustainable.
Hello, I'm Sara Volz, and I hail from Colorado Springs, Colorado. And first of all, I'm extremely excited to be here with so many amazing people. So first, I'd like to thank the Davidson Institute and everyone who's made this achievement possible, because when I heard that I was named a Davidson Fellow Laureate, not only was I incredibly honored, but I realized that I was much closer to being able to pursue the education that I have sought after for so long. So I'd like to thank, first of all, my extremely supportive parents for putting up with having algae all over the house. My deepest gratitude also goes to Dr. Stephen Chisholm and Scott Fulbright, my nominators, who let a 14-year-old into their lab. So my Fellows Science Project is entitled Enhancing Algae Biofuels, Investigation of the Environmental and Enzymatic Factors Affecting Algal Lipid Synthesis. So my work is aimed at characterizing and increasing oil yields of algae in order to make them a more feasible source of biofuels. So algae piqued my interest some 4 years ago when I realized all the advantages that it holds over more traditional land crops that are used for biofuels. It grows rapidly and densely on non-arable land, and it has high carbon dioxide sequestration rates. So it could truly be a green solution as an energy alternative in our petroleum-dependent land. So my work has focused on measuring the regulation of a crucial enzyme that's involved in algal lipid oil metabolism that's not well understood. So I'm also moving forward with this research by applying artificial selection to manipulate these oil synthesis pathways to produce more oil for biofuels. But beyond all these environmental applications, this project has given me so much as a person and as a scientist. It's my independent research that has helped me learn and be challenged as never before, and it's what got me looking for laboratory space when I was 13. It's enabled me to find out what I'm capable of. It's instilled in me such a passion that I'm colloquially known as the algae girl. I got Erlenmeyer flasks, DNA-shaped earrings, a hemocytometer, and stuffed algae toys for my birthday. And I've turned my room into a quasi-laboratory with shelves of collected equipment and chemicals and rows of bubbling algae. My sleep cycles are adjusted to my algae's 16-8-hour light-dark cycle. And I'm actually trying to spread this research experience beyond myself. Because my school can't offer mentorship opportunities, I'm trying to help other young scientists get started and connect with their passions. And this work has really inspired my future. Because of my incredible research experiences, I'm intending to pursue an academic career in biochemistry as a researcher and hopefully maybe as a professor. And this will, of course, begin with an undergraduate education, which this scholarship will help make possible. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that this program really does make a difference. So thank you all so much for inspiring me and so many others.
And from Pennsylvania, Mr. Lijia Xie earned $25,000 for his gene research to find a biomarker for liver cancer.
Good evening, everybody. I was also not originally scheduled to speak, but after Ian set somewhat of a precedent, I felt I could do so, and that I would be remiss were I not to take the opportunity to thank not only the Davidson Institute for this amazing opportunity they've provided, as well as my mentor, Dr. Yingxiu Su, for being willing to allow me to work in her lab, and finally, of course, my parents and my family who are here today, who have always given me continuous and unwavering support. So thank you very much.
Last but not least is an 18-year-old young man from Ohio, Michael Yan, who earned a $50,000 scholarship for his research into a mutation factor linked to Parkinson's disease.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Michael Yan, and I come from Cleveland, Ohio. In 2010, I became intrigued after reading about the neuroprotective drug Dimebon, which hoped to combat neurodegenerative diseases by targeting mitochondrial pores. Since I hoped to explore this new interest of mine, I was lucky enough to be accepted into the lab of Dr. Junwei Zhu, a professor at the Case Western Reserve University and an expert in this particular field of study. Under Dr. Zhu's guidance, I have learned so much more about the role of mitochondrial dysfunction in neurodegenerative diseases, ultimately culminating in my project. Genetic mutation of LRRK2 causes autosomal Parkinson's disease by disrupting mitochondrial dynamics. The pathophysiology of Parkinson's disease, PD, is primarily characterized by the presence of aggregations of alpha-synuclein, tau, and other proteins in Lewy bodies, and dramatic deficits in dopamine-producing neurons in the brain. Dopamine is an important neurotransmitter for smooth muscle movement, and therefore, loss of these important dopaminergic neurons may explain PD clinical symptoms like muscle tremors, rigidity, bradykinesia, etc. Interestingly, mitochondria are very important to neuronal survival because they provide energy to the highly energy-demanding neurons, which have limited glycolysis, play an important role in the cell death cycle, maintain polarity in the highly polarized neurons, and etc. In my project, we effectively identified the biochemical mechanism by which mutations in leucine-rich repeat kinase 2, LRRK2, which are the most common cause of autosomal dominant PD, actually causes PD. We found that LRRK2 normally codes for a multi-domain protein that includes, amongst others, a kinase domain. From our studies, we discovered that the PD pathogenic mutants of LRRK2 coded for protein variants with more active and aggressive kinase activity. This increased kinase activity caused dynamine-like protein 1, DLP1, a primarily cytosolic protein critically involved in the mitochondrial fission process, to be increasingly shuttled into the mitochondria, thereby causing excessive splitting of the mitochondria. Defective mitochondrial dynamics gives rise to cellular hypometabolism, increased neuronal susceptibility to cell death from toxins, increased production of reactive oxygen species, and a host of other harmful events. These reactive oxygen species can induce alpha-synuclein aggregation and dysfunction in the ubiquitin proteasome system, which normally would prevent the formation of Lewy bodies. As a result, my project effectively details the biochemical mechanism underlying PD pathogenesis and PD clinical symptoms. Indeed, this really highlights the power of biochemistry and importance of increased scientific research. Biochemistry is truly amazing for its ability to allow us to refine our understanding of biology to a very fundamental level, allowing us to answer the why and how of biological questions. Yet at the same time, this reveals how much room for exploration in science that we have. We have so much that we need to learn, so much that we need to do. Scientific research represents an unceasing search for truth and understanding, and we must never grow complacent with anything less than true understanding. I therefore would like to thank the Davidson Institute for recognizing this important fact and for funding my future endeavors. I will be using my Davidson Fellows scholarship to fund my undergraduate studies at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, where I'm currently pursuing a double major in biology and chemistry in hopes of one day becoming a research professor in biology at MIT. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank Dr. Junwei Zhu for being so dedicated in guiding me, Dr. Xinlu Wang for meticulously giving me abundant laboratory supports, and my parents for continually supporting my pursuance of science. Last but certainly not least, I would like to thank you all for listening to my speech. Sorry. Thank you.
Well, congratulations to each and every one of the 2012 Davidson Fellows. Jan and I built the Davidson Institute on the belief that individuals who have extraordinary intelligence and talents, when encouraged and supported, can improve the quality of life for everyone. This is why we will continue to seek out and celebrate success, stories like these of the 2012 Davidson Fellows. You can join us in this pursuit if you wish by investing in the Davidson Institute. We have an online donation form on our website, or you can contact us directly if you'd like to learn more. All donations are tax deductible. This is a pitch, I guess, that they put in here. Thank you again for sharing this evening with us and helping us celebrate these very, very exceptional young people. Good night.
I just want to once again thank the Davidson Institute, and I thought it'd be nice to end with a little music, so I'd like to end with The Eternal Vow by Tan Dun from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Great job. Thank you, Nathan. What a great way to close these ceremonies and demonstrate the quality of the projects and work that these young people have done. Again, congratulations. Have a great year. Great time in your colleges, universities. We hope to hear from you in the future, and we'll see all the rest of you next year. Thank you.